Right. So, how did this video come about? Well, this video came about because I am, obviously, as the rest of us, getting older, and I'm starting to feel my age now. And in my advanced youth of 34, I'm going to be 35 on February 20th of 2022. I've gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what? I want to buy things that last, that just last for the rest of my life, more or less, a lot more than less, the rest of my life. And as such, well, I have other videos coming for that, perhaps. But one thing that I did want to get, just because it hit me, was a watch. I wanted to get a watch. Why? It just hit me. And so I'm like, you know what? That brand Fossil, I kind of like them. Maybe it's just the word. But I started looking on their website for stuff, and these three caught my eye. This one, or four. This one, especially this one. I'm guessing this is hollowed out. Well, not hollowed out, but you see transparent. And so on my brown skin, it'll probably look very nice. Meaning this part here. And this one, okay? And then I'm like, you know what? Let me go online and to the main place where people learn things now, YouTube, and read up about watches or listen in. And then I found this guy, Teddy Baldassare. Baldassare, I believe that's how you say it. And I watched a few of his videos and landed on this one, Millennials React to Luxury and Affordable Watches. And when I looked at these millennials, I'm just like, those are millennials? Jesus Christ, they look old. In fact, I think I actually was talking some stuff down here in the comment sections about that. But anyway, that's not the whole point of this. Point is, what helped to prompt this video, in addition to me just looking at watches, is what's going to be said right here. And I'm going to play this, and then I'm going to get into certain things as to why these companies, not just watch companies, but companies as a whole, are probably gonna have to rethink certain things. But let's start off with this. Fair use and all that. You see, this is his stuff. It's not me trying to plagiarize it. Whatever. Let's move on.
That's great. These brands, all these Swiss watch brands, these German watch brands, these luxury brands, like, they're not even on your radar, are they? Like, do you hear about them at all, or?
Maybe if I walk by like the jewelry store at the mall, I might see they have like a display of something maybe, but
Yeah.
not really.
Probably have not heard of any of these watch brands coming into today. Like, do you feel like you just don't do a really good job in terms of marketing to, say, like, consumers or younger consumers, especially here in the United States? Like, do you think they could do a better job? And if so, how could they?
Absolutely. I've heard of Rolex. And I don't believe that's from a commercial that I've heard that. It's probably from a movie or something. So if it's not an Apple Watch, I really haven't heard much about it.
I think that they will become more popular.
You think they will?
I think they will. Apple Watches, ugly, stupid. I don't prefer them at all. Like, no one tells time with those things. They just get their text messages and they're going around like, hello, hello, like, no, stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of them. So, yeah, I'm all for watches.
All right, guys.
Right. So you saw the question that he asked. Is it on your radar? Are you even looking at these kinds of watches? And I can tell you right now, in fact, I actually started right here. You see what I said? Right here. Now, this is not just to the luxury watch. This is to luxury in general. Okay, this is to luxury in general. My generation, millennials, and God knows Gen Z, and I don't even know what the hell's coming after them. To all these people that fashion themselves as luxury or aspirational, or you get this because you have arrived wherever the hell you're going and you managed to get there. If you want to stay alive, you're going to have to go on ahead and come back down to Mars. In fact, that's the title of this video. That's literally where the title of this video comes from. you're going to have to come back down to Mars. See, because the thing is that my generation and going on, we're not exactly doing the best right now. Like right now, all of you luxury brands, you're probably trying to hang on to the baby boomers or hope or maybe at worst Gen X. You're probably not even looking at millennials. Millennials aren't looking at you. In fact, we go back down not even to this one. I'm not even sure which comment was it. Whichever comment that I had on here. I mean, the simple fact of the matter is, no, they're not looking at it. They're not thinking about these prices. And this is not every single millennial. Obviously, there are rich millennials. In fact, one of the people that I went to high school with, if I'm not mistaken, Toby Zhang or Tony Zhang, they're twins. There were a lot of twins in my high school, but one of them is on the 30 under 30 list, right? Forbes 30 under 30. I went to high school with that guy. It's either Toby Zhang or Tony Zhang. And then the other one that didn't quite make the list, he's not far behind them, behind his brother. So not every single millennial, but as a whole, millennials as a whole are not doing well. Gen Z's, depending on which metric you look at, is going to be worse. Sorry, nobody's going to be blowing $250,000 on a watch, right? Which is more than a car, more than a house, well, depending on what you get. You know, and you can only hang on to the baby boomers for so long before they just naturally check out. You can only hang on to Gen X for so long. You're eventually going to have to come with us if you want to stay alive. And that's the whole point of this video, when I even made this. Take, for example, me. I mean, I know I wrote this right here, right? Take, for example, me. My first, well, no, it's not my first, but my most recent luxury purchase, of which I'm probably going to make a video about this, is a shaving set, like a traditional shaving set, the wet shave with the brush and stuff. But even after that, my next most recent quote-unquote luxury purchase, or expensive quote-unquote purchase, expensive compared to the general what's generally available, is a piece of luggage from Zero Halliburton, right? And here's the thing, it wasn't even their most expensive set. I wanted to get the metal set, like the metal suitcase set, like the entire set, all 3 pieces. But I decided against it for various reasons, which I might get into later. But the point is, I just got these, and it's not something that I'm going to be getting all the time. So, you know, it's like, if these companies, luxury car companies, luxury luggage companies, luxury watch companies, if they want to stay alive, how are they going to do that when their customer base is dying off, and the ones that they have to market to really can't afford? I can tell you this right now. Where is it? $200,000 for a watch? The vast majority of millennials have student loans to pay off. Most, if not all, well, not all, but most. Gen Z is following right behind them. They're not going to blow that much on this watch. Okay? And the vast majority of millennials, more than likely, I mean, nobody knows what happened. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. However, the vast majority of millennials, I believe, right? They're not going to reach the point where they're going to just be like, oh, $200,000? Oh my God, if they're giving this away, I wonder how the quality is on this thing. They're giving away, it's so cheap. 200,000, Jesus. Oh my God, let me go get that out of the crevice of my couch or something. No, sorry. Now, maybe these companies, they can stay, because I'm assuming they're not just trying to live off this. I'm sure they have other things that maybe is helping them. But if they really need to market or wonder how it is that they're going to market to younger or up and coming generations. Yeah, that's one thing. Now, if they have a whole bunch of different things, like, oh, let's just say, for example, Rolex is also into real estate, is also into this, is also into that, then fine. Maybe they don't need to market to people. Maybe they can stay here, and the 1 or 2 people out of a million that gets their stuff, fine. But this video goes out to luxury in general, because there's a lot of, I've been watching a few videos on the economy, on just various things, and I'm just thinking to myself, a lot of these car companies, they're trying to figure, oh, how are we going to get into this new market? That's because they realize, hey, for all of our investments that might be keeping stuff up, if this one investment in luxury is going to stay up, we got to find a way to market to these people who cannot afford $1 million for a car. And even if they could, probably wouldn't spend that much. Who cannot afford $200,000 for a watch. And even if they could, they very well might not spend it. There's several factors here. One is just general spending habits. Millennials and Gen Z and whatever's coming after them, which I guess nobody really cares about since they're probably not even legal age yet to do anything. They're not exactly as materialistic as, say, obviously the baby boomers, Jesus age, and even just to a lesser extent than baby boomers, but a more extent than millennials on down, Gen X. So that alone, I mean, hell, look, ask the car companies if nobody else. Even before this pandemic and before this whole global shortage of whatever, which might not actually be a shortage, just might be that they don't want to update themselves. A whole other video on that. Even before the pandemic and the global supply chain shortage, car companies were struggling. As a whole, in general, they were struggling with a lot of millennials being like, look, I don't want the car payment. I don't want the maintenance costs. I don't want to be in debt for this in addition to this student loan crap. I'm just going ahead and take this Uber, even though if you look at it as Uber each month is actually more expensive, at least for the riders. As a former Uber driver myself, at least for the riders, it's more expensive each month than probably even getting a car payment, plus maintenance, plus whatever. But that's something else. They don't want to deal with that. Same thing with housing, just housing in general, much less luxury housing. Eventually you all are going to have to market to millennials who as a whole are crippled. Gen Z, Jesus age, and I don't even want to know what the hell is coming after both of us. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And so that's where this video comes from. So in answering his question about these watches, yeah, I mean, just like I said right here, people who can really afford these things, they don't react like that. Okay, and I'm saying that as somebody who can't afford these things, but have grown up around enough people who definitely could. They don't react the way these millennials reacted to the prices. Okay, in fact, some of these millennials look like they could afford it. This one here, let's play her.
Sometimes
She looks like, well, she might not, but let's just say whoever she's with would be affording it for her, right? So there's her, probably, yeah, she don't need to know. She, like the other girl, they don't need to afford this. Somebody else needs to afford this. Let's just put it like that, Let's just put it like that. Not so much her.
that's about it.
Okay.
Oh, I could go on and on.
Not so much her either, but those first two, y'all know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean. You know, the people that can afford this stuff don't react the way these millennials reacted. Y'all can watch the video. And just in general, you know, Take for example this Zero Halliburton case. I have a trip coming up where I'm going to be heading to Texas, and I'm going to see if this thing, for as much as it costs, and this is the polycarbonate, this isn't even the full aluminum, the full metal case. I'm going to see if this thing holds up just as much as a, I don't know, American Tourister or a Samsonite or whatever the hell else holds up. Especially considering how much luxury this thing is supposed to be. Right? So, you know, there comes a point where you're not going to be able to rely on the name, because people aren't going to know you. You know, it's like, first of all, you're not really advertising out there like that. You heard them. You know, the only reason why that one woman down here knows of Rolex is from movies, not from advertising. It's like, okay, fine. You all don't really advertise like that. It's like, we don't need to advertise. We're not Honda Civic. We're Bugatti Veyron. Okay, fine. Well, that's nice. And realize the only reason why you, Bugatti, are alive is because Volkswagen, the Bug or Beetle or Jetta or whatever the hell, is essentially subsidizing your ass, right? Because just stand alone, there's only so many people buying your stuff. But you all still have monthly bills, right? You know, so it goes, and perfect example is Bugatti. From what I understand, the Veyron, they lost money with each one of those that they made. So they were going from a deficit. And it's not like they were buying a whole bunch of different cars, so it wasn't like it was a loss leader or something, you know, like, point proven. So a lot of these luxury people, these luxury brands of whatever, luggage, car, house, whatever, watch, they're gonna have to come back down. They're gonna have to go ahead and come down to Mars as far as how they do stuff, unless of course they don't need to, because they are owned by somebody else who's financing the massive amounts of loss that they produce, just to keep them as a niche market for a few percentage of the population. But any luxury brand that's thinking like, okay, how do we market to people? Yeah, you're gonna have to market by coming down to Mars. First and foremost, whatever you want to say about luxury and quality and craftsmanship and all that stuff, price. Because let's be honest, luxury is ornamental. Luxury is not functional. For whatever you want to say about build quality and all that stuff, luxury is ornamental. It's not functional. And in the case of watches here, I'm sorry to say this, Mr. Teddy Baldus here. Simple fact of the matter is, I mean, you full well know this, the vast majority of people, millennial and down, use their phones. And in one of your videos, you've even said, hey, obviously, with the technology that people use today to tell the time, it's far more accurate than these traditional ways of telling time. But this is marketing to people who appreciate the, I don't know, the craftsmanship, there's a certain spirit that you have to have this, you know. It's, I mean, hell, you want to tell the time, look at your phone. But if you wanted a watch in today's day and age, it's because there's a certain, not even enthusiast, but just a certain spirit to having this luxury piece, you know? Or not even luxury piece, but this, you know what I'm saying? Just to have a watch on your wrist, you know, it's not just because you want to tell time, okay? It's obviously not. Anyway, that's it. That's just my little ranting on this. Hopefully any luxury-based entities that specialize in luxury stuff, hopefully, if you're trying to attract younger than GenX, yeah, hopefully this video is of some use to you. Anyway, later.